Hey everyone, in this video we're going to go over a moonshot idea. Meta, formerly known as Facebook, should acquire Robinhood in our opinion. Now we're going to get into the details of why we think this acquisition would make a lot of sense. Before we do, please smash the like button, it really helps the YouTube algorithm, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. I'd also like to shout out that one of our subscribers actually commented in our most recent video on Robinhood stock that was dropped last night that they would make a great acquisition target for big tech, and we couldn't agree more. And that is why we were putting this video out today to let you know why we think Meta, aka Facebook, should acquire Robinhood. Now let's get into it. Meta, for those that aren't known, is the new name for Facebook. It basically is the parent company that is going to hold Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus, Workplace, Portal, and Novi, and any other projects they basically come out with. Now, the core of Meta is that they are a social media company. When you think of Facebook, you think of Instagram now, WhatsApp, but all these things, even Oculus, they're all basically social apps where people can do things and communicate with each other. Even in the metaverse, they're changing to the name Meta, and in the metaverse, they believe the ultimate feature is socializing. Mark Zuckerberg has pointed this out in earnings calls and presentations before. They believe that in the metaverse, socializing, whether that's playing games together, just hanging out and talking, going to a concert together, regardless what you do in the metaverse, you're basically socializing. Now, we know that Facebook wanted to get into the fintech space with a brand called Calibra they created in 2019. It stayed that branding from 2019 to 2020, and basically in 2020 they changed the name to Novi. And this basically involves a wallet for this crypto coin that they're going to create that's going to hold different assets, US dollar and other currencies from other countries. And we still are unsure what the actual end result will be for Novi, but their website is up. They've brought it up on the Meta website. They obviously have a lot of intentions to get into crypto / finance and the fintech space. And it makes sense when you're such a big company to enter into other industries. Now, we're not surprised that they want to get into fintech, especially with the marketplaces on Instagram and Facebook and all around the amount of product and transactions that happen on their platforms. It would be important to basically want to take part into the transactions themselves in a deeper level. And they've always tried, in my opinion, to acquire versus create. And some of the successful acquisitions include Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus. These are all companies that Meta owns, but they acquired them and they just continue to make them much bigger than they were when they were first acquired. They even attempted to acquire Snapchat, but that was not accepted by the founder. And Snapchat, of course, is a much larger company today than the offer that they received from Facebook at the time. Now, it's no surprise that if you can acquire an extremely popular app and just make the product better with R&D and different things, that's easier than building from scratch if you have the funds to do so. And Robinhood is a platform for trading. It has a very young user base. And we do know from Meta that they made it clear they want to target a younger user base. We know that the Facebook user base is getting older. Instagram has a younger user base and is much more attractive at this point for investors. And they know that Snapchat has a young user base and things like TikTok, etc. So we know that they want a younger user base, and we know Robinhood has a young user base. And Robinhood has a massive user base, but it does lack one thing, and that's social features. Currently, a lot of its rivals, like Social Finance or Public, have social features such as being able to chat amongst a stock ticker so you can look down and see what other people are saying about it. You could share your portfolio so people can, if you have it on Public, for example, you could have people see what you own, when you buy something, when you sell something. You could make that private or not, but the point is they're social platforms with finance. And we know that Meta understands social better than anyone. So bringing that to the table for Robinhood, I think, would be a huge plus for the users. Now, Meta also does not care if the product loses money because the company Meta itself has tons of cash flow from advertisements. WhatsApp is a great example. When Facebook announced its plans to acquire WhatsApp in 2014, the founder basically had a purchase price of around $16 billion. It was $4 billion cash, $12 billion remaining in Facebook shares, and that actually is much less than what they ended up paying, which was closer to $21.8 billion. And at this time, Facebook had much less cash flow, way less cash than they have today. And they were willing to pay almost $22 billion for a company that, just to get an idea, only had $15.9 million of revenue for the 6 months of 2014, that first half. So basically, if you call it 32 million in revenue for the year. So very little revenue. They did not care. And they also, with that $32 million of revenue, it had a staggering net loss of $232.5 million. So they were losing money, bleeding money. If that sounds familiar, Robinhood is currently bleeding money, but they had a great product that a lot of people used. Now, valuation, just to get an idea, Facebook has much more money today, much larger company today, and as far as Robinhood goes, they today have a market cap of $18.83 billion. This is down from an all-time high of around $80 billion at their high. I believe they could easily offer something around 25 to 30, 35 billion. Let's just say it's $30 billion to acquire Robinhood, which would be a huge premium, a 50% premium to the stock. They could easily afford it. They could do it in all cash if they wanted, but obviously they would probably offer cash plus stock. And Meta would immediately put itself in a leader position in the fintech space with a recognizable brand, which is, I think, extremely important if you want to win in the fintech space. Another huge win for users would be that Meta has tons of cash, lots of free cash flow, so they can spend whatever is needed in research and development to develop the features at a much faster rate than Robinhood could do on their own. And they also have tons of software talent across the company at Meta that could help develop. So basically, there would be no worry about, oh, are we going to run out of money? How much can we spend on R&D, etc. They would have basically unlimited funds in a way. So this is a huge win for the product of Robinhood and the users of Robinhood because they would get a better product faster, which is a win-win for everyone. Now, the reason I think they may not do this acquisition, but I hope they do and I think would be a win if they did, is that Facebook has been under attack as a quote-unquote evil company. They're very much wanting to change that look. They swapped names to Meta, and I believe they did that not only just to show the focus on VR and AR as they showed. They want to say that, they're going all in on the metaverse, and I believe they are doing that, but they also are trying to get a fresh start, I think. They want to get the name Facebook out of people's heads when they're thinking about other products like Oculus, for example, or this Novi product. They don't want you to think of the bad things that come along with the Facebook name right now. And lastly, there's always the chance that the government could just block the acquisition. Personally, I think that they'd have a hard time proving Facebook owning Robinhood would hurt or be a monopoly or competition problems, because the truth is, Facebook in the fintech space doesn't have a major position, pretty much doesn't have any position at this point. But that said, that wouldn't stop them from trying to block the transaction, and it just wouldn't be good press if they tried to block it, whether they get it through or not. Now, I am going to throw one more thing that I have a little more prediction, and I believe that Facebook, right now currently ticker FB for Meta, is trying to acquire the right to use the name ticker META, Meta, from the current ETF that uses that ticker. If you don't know who Matthew Ball is, he was the head of strategy at Amazon Studios. He now has an ETF tickered META, the name of Facebook's new name, Meta, to talk about basically it's an ETF of metaverse stocks. And we saw that Facebook was going to change their stock ticker from FB, and I'll say Meta was going to change it from FB to MVRS for Metaverse. But I think they want to actually get the ticker META to not have any confusion. And I think that is why we saw that they have delayed the change to Metaverse ticker to MVRS. The delay is now until early 2022. And if I had to take a guess on here, I think they're in talks right now to try to take that name from that ETF and have no confusion, and that would probably be a nice fat paycheck to Matthew Ball and anyone else involved in that ETF. Now, I'm curious what you think of this Moonshot acquisition idea. Do you think Meta should acquire Robinhood? Do you think it would be a good or bad idea? Comment below. I'm curious, for real. If you own Meta, do you want them to acquire Robinhood? If you own Robinhood, would you be happy with selling it at a 50% premium to Meta? I am curious. Comment below. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, please smash the like button. It really helps the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe. We're still a small channel, and it means the most. Thanks so much.